6th, 2012, Albuquerque, New Mexico. I had someone ask an interesting question in one of my telephone sessions this week, and I thought it worth our bringing awareness to it. And she said, if I had to take everything that I have learned in all these years in all the different ways, what would I say in retrospect that I wished I had known earliest, way beginning, years ago? And so that maybe put me in a really interesting frame of mind, and what began to arise was the magnificent freedom that I wish I had had over and over, that I had heard it. It is not that it wasn't said, it wasn't that I hadn't read it, it wasn't that Bartholomew hadn't delivered it, it was just, what would I wish that I paid attention to? Because, you know, there's so much, and people have so many ideas. It's this, it's that, do this, do that, it's this way. So what was it? So as I sat with it, it came up this way. The minute I became aware that I was looking for something, then I wish that something or someone had knocked me over the head and said, pay attention to this, Mary Margaret. What you are looking for is exactly what is happening right now. That which you're looking for, because remember what I was looking for. And so I wrote down, well, what do we look for? What do we look for when we start this? Well, we all look for different things. But here are just a few of them. Well, my eternal self. That's pretty vague, isn't it? My true nature. Well, that's really vague. What would that be? And then the beloved. Well, how does that work? And then, well, we all understand peace. And then we're looking for eternal love. Well, what would that mean? And then, you know, my word, the absolute, well, what would that be? And so all of these things. And then we're looking for peace of mind and so on. And what I wished I'd heard was the simplicity of what you are looking for is what is already present, alive in this moment, has never gone anywhere, never could go anywhere. It's here. You want joy? What are we told? We are told that right now our essential true nature is joy. We're told that it's joy, that it's a special kind of a love. These are reports that have come back to us for centuries. And the centuries haven't changed on this one. They say the same thing, getting to the depth of it. This is what we're looking for. So if this be what I had paid attention to long ago, what would I have done differently? I think that's part of the question. What would I have done differently? I would have listened to that with the intensity of, oh, it's here. It's truly here. Well, if it's truly here, then what? Well, then here comes the search. Well, then I have to find out how to find out what's truly here. And I have to know what's truly true about what's truly here. And I can't just look at it and say, well, there it is. There's this mystique. And in my life, in my experience, what happened was, this is where I started believing the words of the mind. My mind, other people's minds. I listened to what other people's minds had reported, because, and no matter what you want to say, when you start writing something down or saying something, it's partly coming from mind, partly. It can also come from depth of within, but when you try to describe it, you're back into mind. All right, so, but I listened to all those things, and the truth of it is, it never really occurred to do exactly what Bartholomew said in his closing time with us, which is, sit down, shut up, and find it. It's just right there. He didn't say go looking for it. He didn't say it's hard to find. He didn't say any of that. But what he did say was, energy follows thought. Energy follows thought. All right, so energy follows thought. What does that mean now for me today? Energy follows thought. The thoughts took me everywhere. You all know this. Not only to 24 countries, but to how many different kinds of experiences, how many kinds of attempts at this kind of meditation, that kind of this, that, you know, the story. You know, you want the perfect seeker? Here she is, right here, you know, with everything she's tried. And so it was, so what drove that? What drove that? Energy follows thought. The thought was, it's not here, Mary Margaret, or it is here, here's the sad part, it is here, but you're not good enough to have it. You're not pure enough to have it. You're not clear enough. You're not devoted enough. You're not trying enough. You're not attempting enough. There's something that is intrinsically wrong, what? With me. With me. And so the search begins, and then it's years and years, and slowly the search slows down. And the reason it slows down is that the idea begins to take hold. Don't listen to the thoughts. Don't listen to the thoughts. And that came, of course, first from Bartholomew, was echoed in so many people, such as those of you that love Byron Katie. She does a beautiful job of it. Tony Parsons points to it. All of the people who you listen to, Tolay, all these people, they all, what is the essential teaching that comes out is don't believe your thoughts. Don't believe your thoughts. And Byron Katie's words is, if you still believe your thoughts, you're not done yet. Don't you love it? It's just so simple. So, if you believe your thoughts, and finally, over the years came this deeper and deeper cognition, those you're listening to your thinking. And the thinking keeps saying repeatedly, because we all know this, I am preaching to the choir, and I know that. I know you all know this. I know those of you hearing the CDs, those of you who might see it on YouTube, you know this. I'm just reminding, all this is about, this is not a prescription. I'm not prescribing something. I'm trying to describe something. And what I'm trying to describe is the slowly dawning knowing that my thoughts were in no way provable to me. I liked some of the thoughts. Some of them were really wonderful. But they did not hold me in the times of true difficulty. They didn't hold me. Because in truth, they were made of thought. And as we all know, thought is very ephemeral. It comes and it goes. It doesn't have that lasting something that we all already are experiencing, but jump over because we're moving toward something that we think is not present. So even if I had believed that it was present, there was an accompanying belief that there had to be something special in this equipment here to be the receptor of that. And then it could get really depressing because then it can only be by grace. You know, that's a very sad thought, truly, that it can only be by grace. Because there are a lot of people, perhaps, who believe that they're worthy of grace. I haven't met many of them. You know, I really have not. Deeply, when I really am intimately close to people who talk with me, I find that they don't believe it either. That they believe that, so what, it's here, but then my equipment isn't lined up. And you hear this all the time, don't you? We need to line it up. You have to be in harmony with, you have to be in vibrational frequency. I've come to really not like that word, excuse me, but vibrational frequency, meaning somehow in this immense 75 trillion light years of motion, I'm supposed to find the one vibration? But this is the way the mind works. Out of all of the things things that are happening. Well, everything's happening, but then I'm not having the joy. Why I'm not having that deep feeling? It's because the mind is still absolutely running the entire show. And because I had not taken the time to truly listen to what had been said forever, I continued to follow other people's thoughts. Other people's thoughts. Then I quit listening to other people and started listening to my own thoughts. And I found that my own thoughts were made up of other people's thoughts. Right? Wasn't going anywhere. Because when you're really down in the darkness of the moment of depression, those kinds of thoughts, in my case, did not hold. They didn't hold. They didn't hold. So, what would have held? Well, we'll never know. But what I would say now in answer to this question is to have taken deeply, seriously, if you could use that kind of somber word, but with great focus, these over and over, it's here. It is absolutely already here. You exist. Talking to myself, I exist. The mind says, oh, well, who is this I? And what I exists? And what do you mean by exist? Do you see? And then we're lost. And I'm gone again in the fog of it all. However, in the simplicity of it's here, it's here. Something stops. Something stops. And there's nothing left but the revelation of, well then, it's got to be here.